Hey guys, it's me, Vinny Lospinuso. I'm back with another vlog that I want to pose a real question, a serious question, and one that is difficult for me to question because I love this man so much. Should Matt Ryan consider retirement? He's been his 15 years in the NFL, and fortunately, the last game he started was the one where the Colts defense gave up a 33-0 lead to the Vikings and lost. He's been benched twice this year. He's on the books for at least one more season. But is this it for him? Is he going to retire? I don't know. I think he will, though. It's just only 13,000 more passing yards to go before he becomes 5th all-time. Only needs like 12 or 15 more at most to have 400 regular season passing touchdowns. He's already 5th all-time, and he's already in the top 5 all-time in almost every single statistical category for a football player, for a quarterback. He's already in the top 15 for any player in NFL history for value average ever, even above his own peers like Ben Roethlisberger, Eli Manning, Russell Wilson, Matthew Stafford, Tony Romo even too. But is this it for him? Is this it for the man that they call Matty Ice? Is this it for the man from Exton, Pennsylvania? Is this it for, in my opinion, and in the opinion of other people too, the greatest Atlanta Falcon of all time? No disrespect to people like Tommy Nobis, who was Mr. Falcon, and no offense to someone like his teammate Julio Jones, arguably the best overall player in Falcons history, and no disrespect to someone like Claude Humphrey, who managed that defense for numerous years. But in my opinion, I don't think there's anyone that's been more important to the history of the team positively than Matthew Thomas Ryan. That man should have his number retired. That man should have a statue in front of him. And yes, I do believe Matt Ryan is a Hall of Famer. I strongly do. I will always think that about him. Whether or not he makes it or not, I mean, I find the Hall of Fame process to be very, very stingy and tends to cut off their nose to spite their own face. And I don't really care for its process of how long it takes people to get even inducted, whether they're from the 1800s or the present. And I don't like how they treat non-players like coaches, contributors, and whatnot. So it's going to take a while because a lot of the media will just look at him as just the guy that was a part of the biggest blown lead in Super Bowl history. That's all they're going to see him as, maybe. But if they do that, this just says a lot more about them than it does about him, especially as he's 4th all-time and 4th quarter comeback. So if they're going to see him as just a guy that blows leads, they can take it and shove it. That's how I look at it. They can just take it and shove it. I never thought I would find someone that I appreciated more as a player than Tiki Barber in my life. I don't think I've ever thought that would ever happen, let alone someone that never even played for a team in New York, that never even played for a team in the same division, or even the same region. Hell, I became a fan of this guy because I felt bad for his team after the Super Bowl loss. That's how I became a fan of his. And that makes me less of a fan, less of a historian. Then so what? Then I'm less of a historian. Who gives a shit? This man meant a lot to me. He did. He really did. And yes, I'm going to push for him to make the Hall of Fame. I don't care what people say. I do not care if they view him as a loser or a choke artist or this thing that he isn't. He's meant more to that city than anyone else that ever came from that there. You can talk about Michael Vick all you want. He was first man out for, he was last one in, first one out when he was in Atlanta. Ryan was the one that organized the movement for, impoverished black communities in the city of Atlanta when he was with the Falcons. Yeah, Michael Vick may have been a lot for the culture, the more visual aspect, but Ryan helped more of the 10 or 11 care aspect, the TLC. He affected way more of that aspect too. If there is a Mount Rushmore of sports people from Atlanta, and if you have to do one for every single sport that's there, you're gonna have to throw Matt Ryan there. Yeah, Michael Vick may have been the most popular player, but he was not their best player. Julio Jones might have been their most gifted one, but he was not. But Ryan, if you look at everyone inside that organization, they'll tell you how much he meant to them. The fans may be very apathetic because he's not exciting in their eyes. But the people within that organization know. What, you think they were just lying about him? You think those people were lying for what he did for them for over a decade and a half? Living there with his entire family, growing up and everything? These Colts fans, I think, are just hilarious. Jim Irsay, terrible job as an owner. Jeff Saturday, they brought him in. He's a god-awful head coach. Chris Bowers in over his head. The offensive line falters all around him, whether it's Ryan Kelly or Quentin Nelson. Jonathan Taylor has a piss season. Shaquille Leonard, formerly Darius Leonard, he goes out with injury. But yet it's all Matt Ryan's fault? How? Frank Reich flat out said we did not live up to our end of the bargain. It was us, not him. Everyone else said it was them, not him. So if you want to spin it and say it's somehow not his fault, yeah, he was not that good this season. I'm aware of that. I am very, very well aware of that. You do not need to remind me. But I also know that in more games than not, he was the reason why they were always in it. You can spin that however you want. I do not care. I do not care one bit. So, I don't want to see him on the Colts anymore because I don't think that team deserves him. I would have no problem if he went back to the Falcons and spent his final season as a backup or as a mentor for Desmond Ridder. Because, he lives in Atlanta. That's where his kids grew up. That's where he got to get better know his wife. And that's where he's probably going to live the rest of his adult life anyway, too. And he has no intentions of leaving that city. No way. He's not going to be a full-time starter anymore. He's not that point of his career now. He spent 15 plus years as the primary starter for those teams he was on. But if he decides to call it a career, it's been one hell of a career. Yes, a career that people are going to underrate years and years from now, but still a career that he can look on and be very happy with how he was in life because he made more money than you and I could ever dream of. Lives in a beautiful house in Atlanta. And hey, not a bad career. Yes, I do think he's a Hall of Famer. He's going to make there. I don't know. But still, more money than you and I could ever dream of. And honestly, that's a success in my eyes. But that's my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Should Matt Ryan retire after the season? If not, why? If so, why? If you do want to see him play one more season, where would you want him to play? Or be a roster you want to be a part of? Where would you do it? That's my thought, guys. See ya.